A long distance club repair, broken shaft, nice head, bore through. Let's change this guy out. Tools of the Trade Tuesday. Tools of the Trade Tuesday. Tools of the Trade Tuesday. The Trade Tuesday. Welcome back to the McGolf shop, and we're going to put this on Tools of the Trade Tuesday because I'm using a lot of tools. And as you guys have seen, I've done at least 2 bore throughs now, one on a hybrid and one on a driver. Now they're both a little bit different. The hybrid had kind of a shiny surface, where the driver was more of a satiny, almost sanded surface. This one comes to us from Ernie in New York. And it's a bore through. All right, it's a bore through on a Callaway 460, and it's a little short. So he wants me to put in a old school rifle shaft, graphite. Okay, graphite one. Now, this is a regular flex, 75 gram from Precision. Now let's talk about this shaft for a little bit. I actually know the guy that designed this. His name's Robin Arthur. Good cat, knows stuff about shafts. And when he was working with Rifle, they contracted him to make some graphite shafts, and this was the first series of those to go out. And when he brought them to task, it was different weight categories, different flexes, and a neat little shaft, very stout. Okay, that was the thing. It was very stout, and it's been ages. It's been at least, I'm going to say, at least 12 years. And the thing about it is that didn't get a lot of press in the driver shafts, but it got a truckload of popularity in fairway wood shafts. You couldn't get them out of there. So that's where they ended up, and then after they didn't sell a bunch of driver shafts, then Rifle went on to another model and got out of the graphite business altogether, as they make a very fine steel product. So again, when we get into the taking out of the shaft, we need a special tool. That guy, all right? Piece of milled plastic. Used to be able to get these from other places. I've had this specialty made. So that's where I get it. Normally you have to take off the grip, but since there is no grip, you slide it on and you put it on the club just like that. Well, now the special problem here is Callaway has seen fit to put a racing stripe right there. All right, and it's white. So when you go to heat this up and you hit it with a direct flame, you have the opportunity to make that brown. Okay, now there's a couple things about the reason why I use this. All right, it's butane torch. It's a butane torch. All right, butane goes a little cooler than propane. Okay, and is more of a precision application, so I don't have to make this whole club molten, all right, in order to get it out. So all I have to do is apply a little heat here, some heat here, and then I'm going to go across the top, and I'm probably going to go around twice with it because it's a big head and it makes for a big heat sink. And then we're going to put it in a puller and try and pull this bad boy out of there. All right, I want you to take a look at this. I don't know if you can quite see it. There's a few paint chips in there. Here's some. There we go. There's some right there. All right, and I'm gonna try and polish some of that off, or at least make it shiny. The other part is that this is kind of it's not necessarily a shiny bottom, but it does have a kind of a satiny finish. So let's heat it up and let's pull it out, and then we'll go on to the next phase. Okay, so here we go with this guy. We get this thing going. And then we go up and down in here. I'm going to go around the opening here. That's probably one of the hardest places to go. Okay, so the reason why I don't do a lot in this particular area is because when you put that tool in there, then the paint's kind of soft. So I let that part not get so hot. That pulled right out. There you go. We're pulled out. So now we gotta clean the inside. Okay, so it actually pulled out kind of clean, but we're still gonna get after it anyway. I know you can't see it, but down right into the bottom here, I got a little bit extra. I'm gonna go get this. It's clean now. Alrighty, so now while the club head is off, now is the time to hit it with the shine. So I'm gonna bend you down here just a little bit, and then we will show you how that's done. Okay, a little glands wedge. Let's talk about this stuff. I get questions about this because I say glands watch, W-A-C-H, and that's what it is. And I've told you, you can get it from Grizzly, and it's called Menzerna is the people that make it. There you go, Menzerna, right? And the Menzerna comes in a tan, a yellow, and some other color. What we're looking at is the yellow. All right, they sell a whole brick of it for what you can buy a portion of a brick from other places. So that would be the one place I go. Alrighty, so this time I will use my gloves because that club head, she is hot. And I don't want to lose my club head underneath the wheel. I hope you saw what it looked like before. And there's the big deal. Nice and shiny. All right. So Ernie, I think you're going to be pleasantly surprised with this. Now I got to get a ferrule. All right, talking about these guys again, just to let you know that somewhere up in here or over here, I'm going to be putting up the other two videos I did of pulling and finishing the bore through. So what does this take? Well, because of the larger hole, all right, that's a big hole. This is a 335 shaft. See that? There's a lot of room in there. And what we need is a ferrule like that to take up its space. Turns out these are one of the originals. So I take it and I put my ferrule in there, and then I put on there, and then that goes through and it does like that. Now while that's going on, I have what's called a tip pin. A tip pin is just another piece of plastic, and then that will stick up in there. Now, the last bit of this is, see how that sticks up there through that? All right, what we really only want to do is get down to about as close as we can without going under. And that's what we're going to do. So, I'm not going to show you this because all it is gluing and a little bit of abrading. And we might talk about abrading of the shaft, but that's what it is. Alrighty, I wanted to bring you back because I am going to show you some of the gluing because it's different, okay? What's happened is that the club itself is a .350 tip, and I should have known that. And the shaft I got was a 355 or a 335 tip. And in most cases, if you had a non-bore through shaft, then it would be easy. You put a little shim on it, and it could be plastic or it could be one that looks like that. It's a little brass shaft. These are some of my favorites. And you'd put it in there and let it set, and this would suck up the difference between the outer inside part of the hosel and the shaft itself. Now, let me be perfectly clear here. A lot of people say, well, you can use centering beads and that would take up the spot. The answer is no. All right. You can do that and you'll feel like you've made it, but you have to put so much centering bead in there that those beads take up the space of where the glue's at, and that's what's holding that club together. All right. This is glued on both sides. Think about that. All right, so I've got to put this together. So I'm going to do the very same thing I would, and what's going to eventually happen is this is going to be sticking out of here like this. All right, it's going to be sticking out there like that. Now you're, oh no, you can't have it look, it's not going to stay like that. I'm going to grind it down, and you very well may see like 5 different little brass pieces, but it will be centered, and it'll act more like it did. It have the right lofts and the lie angles, as opposed to getting wiggled around in there. And then this is way more sturdy, and I just grind it off, and you'll see that in the next part. It's the next day, and we're ready to finish off this project and send it back to New York for Ernie. So in between all this, I snuck back in, because if you see this, there's the shim that we put on there, but it had a cap, so I couldn't put the tip pin in there. So instead of trying to pull it out, I had to let it dry, get past what they call a gel time, and then I came in there, and all I did basically was just grind the top off in order for me to put the tip pin in. Then I used some 30-minute glue in order to put the tip pin in, and then basically went to sleep. And always a good indicator when you know you're ready. This is the glue I used to put in the shaft and the ferrule and all that. This is the 30-minute glue. Same way, right? And if you look, they have a little bit different color, so you know which one's which. Alright, so we gotta cut this guy off. Now you can use just about anything. I just happen to have a really nice back saw, and we go and we cut that guy off. Put my tool back. Okay, there we go. So now I've got that taken care of. It doesn't have to be real pretty because we're going to grind it some more. And so off to the grinder. I'm going to position you, and we're going to go take a look. All right, back at my, I got an 8-inch bench grinder multi-tool sander from Jet. This is one of the first models that Golfworks has, and they've since gone to the 6-inch saying it's got enough power. And it very well may, but I like this one. Okay. The other part is I just called a belt company, and I will put it in the show notes below. And I got a new series of belts, and we're going to go through a lot of them. So if you want to see a comparison, these are called Nortex belts. And this is what I've been using, and that's what I'm getting ready to use. That's how these start out, and they end up like that. And then this is the more coarse, and then this is less coarse, okay? And then I use sanding belts. Now the sanding belts are all the same color, but on the inside, see the 80? Okay, I have an 80, I have a 120, which is this one, I have a 180, which is on here, and a bunch more. And actually there's a 40 up here too. If I need the 40, that 40 is probably going to be there quite a while. And then I go to what's called a Trizac belt, and the Trizac belt's a 2500 grit, or I'm sorry, a 1200 grip. So that's what we're going to use. And all that goes into stepping, so we can go from when we go to do this and make it clean up. So let's get started. Well, there you saw it. I only had to use the blue belt because when I was using the sandpaper, and that was the 180, it's not super fine when coming to metal working, but I didn't get into the metal too bad, and so I stepped it down one into the blue, and then I went into the polish, and as you can see, it came out pretty decent. I'm pretty happy with that. And if you can get in there, and I always said you would be able to see the shim. Let's see if you can get in there. Can you see that? Just ever so slightly, right? Looks like a little, I don't know, looks like a little bitty copper ring around it, but it's in there solid, and that's the important part. And then just for fun, I dressed up the face a little bit, and so just like everything else, it's going to get a coat of wax, and back off it goes to Ernie. So again, if you liked it, how about liking it down below, and subscribe, and then you can see some more stuff like this going forward. And if you have any questions about this kind of stuff, put them in the show notes, or send me a question at clubmaker@mcgolf.net. And let's see your scores. Go low.